Having the power to stretch your limbs or shapeshift your body into a giant bouncing ball doesn't exactly scream intimidation, and it's without a doubt one of the reasons why you wouldn't necessarily associate characters like DC Comics' Plastic Man with the word terrifying. Throughout the character's 70 plus years of history, though, you guys might find it as a surprise that there have been versions of DC's Resident Rubberman that, for a lack of a better term, can be considered as pure nightmare fuel. Well, we're not going to stretch this out any further. Get it? Because we're here to talk about Plastic Man's most terrifying variants that will make you regret ever thinking that this stretchy superhero is just a joke. As always, if you like finding out about fun factoids about your favorite pop culture characters, then hit like on this video. If you don't want to miss out on amazing superhero content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, KRTV Marvel. During DC's Flashpoint event, which saw an alternate version of the DCU with an entirely different status quo from the mainline universe, Plastic Man is a hardened criminal who associates himself with some of the DCU's most dangerous villains. In this version of the character, Plaz aids his old friend and partner in crime, Heatwave, to escape prison. Now, what makes this particular iteration of the DC's Maven of Malleability is how completely unhinged he is compared to the mainline version of Plastic Man that we all know and love. Sure, he still has the same power set, but this is the kind of Plaz that doesn't have any problems transforming his body into a variety of lethal weapons. Whether it's turning his arms into an eye-poking needle or shrinking his entire body to enter another, then bursting out of it as an alien's facehugger, there's no doubt that this Plastic Man variant can make even the hardest criminals in the DCU tremble. Found on Earth-X, a dystopian version of the DCU ruled by Nazis, the Plastic Man you'll find here isn't just one guy. It's an entire army of SS soldiers that have undergone a procedure that gave them shape-shifting powers. Simply put, these jackbooted stretchy sons of a gun have all the powers of the original Plastic Man, but without any of the fun quips and humor, much less any sense of morality. The Plastic Men are brainwashed into becoming single-minded agents of the Nazis on Earth-X. Their only mission: to end anyone and anything that's fighting for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So yeah, it's obvious that Earth-X is pretty much one of the crappiest places in the DC universe. Alright. To be completely fair, this particular version of Plastic Man isn't necessarily a villain, but it doesn't make him any less terrifying when you find out his backstory. In this reality, set in the same world as Frank Miller's classic The Dark Knight Returns storyline, Plastic Man is a superhero. Well, at least he used to be until the US government decided to outlaw masked vigilantes. As a result, Plaz was arrested and sent to the infamous Arkham Asylum, home to notorious nutjobs from Batman's rogues gallery, such as Joker, Two-Face, and Scarecrow. The asylum then trapped him inside a pressure chamber that forced his body to maintain this egg-like shape in order to suppress him. This went on for decades and led to Plastic Man's mind becoming mentally unhinged. When he escapes, he gets into a fight with DC's other stretchy crime fighter, Elongated Man, aka Ralph Dibny, and the Caped Crusader himself. It wasn't until Plastic Man was able to reclaim his sanity that the fight ended. Is this version of Plaz a bad guy? Absolutely not. But is he a terrifying force to be reckoned with? Well, if Batman thinks so, who are we to disagree? Earth-9, also known as the Tangent Universe, is one of the more unique alternate realities you can find in the DC multiverse. Here, the characters we all know and love have had their backstories revamped and their appearances completely redesigned. In this reality, Green Lantern is a sexy blind mystic with a literal lantern hanging from her cane. Batman is a swordsman heavily clad in red armor inspired by Gary Oldman's Dracula. And Plastic Man? Well, let's just say that DC Comics might have been pulling a prank on us fans when they chose to turn the red spandex-clad Quipmeister into an eerily buff, metallic macho man with a permanent scowl on his face. The Plastic Man of Prime Earth isn't your typical shape-shifting hero. Hell, He's not even a hero at all. This particular iteration of the character is an assassin, though one that's only been forced to become one by villain Dr. Psycho. However, what makes the Plaz of this Earth unique is that he's actually a Durlan, an extraterrestrial with the ability to shapeshift. And if that's not enough, he has the power to replicate himself, with his copies also able to shapeshift into any form they wish. Earth-43 is the goth kid within the DC multiverse. Everything on this version of Earth was identical to the mainline DCU. That is, until Batman had a run-in with Dracula himself. Sure, Bats beat the blood-sucking Count, but not before turning into a vampire himself. In turn, Batman bit a lot of the other DC superheroes in this reality, which spawned vampiric versions of the characters we know and love. One such metahuman to grow fangs and a taste for blood is none other than Eel O'Brien, Plastic Man. After becoming a vamp, he changes his name to Plasma Man and becomes one of the most dangerous villains on this alternate version of the DCU, with moves comparable to a spider trapping unwitting flies using elastic limbs before literally sucking the life out of them. Yikes. The Plastic Man on Earth-55 used to be almost exactly the same as the mainline version of the character. He was a good guy with shape-shifting abilities and a sense of humor that can make even a grumpy camper like Batman roll over laughing. Unfortunately, he came in contact with the anti-life equation, one of DC's most sinister artifacts that literal gods like Darkseid are actively searching for. In a nutshell, the anti-life equation has the power to remove any living thing's free will and destroy them, and that's exactly what happened to this Earth's version of Plaz. He turns to one of the anti-living after encountering the equation and becomes a sprawling mess of red flesh not unlike the creature from The Thing. It kills anything in its path, leaving nothing but a trail of destruction and death in its wake. With all of these terrifying variants of Plastic Man around, you'd think that the hero isn't anything special in the grand scheme of the DC multiverse. But we'd beg to differ. If nothing else, these alternate versions of DC's elastic jokester only highlights the original traits and makes him all the more special. Regardless if it's a Plastic Man who's portrayed as a synthetic humanoid like in the Tangent universe or a version of the character that needs to drink blood to sustain life, it's no question that there can be no replacement for the original wisecracking, wide-grinning, wacky superhero that has delighted us for more than half a decade. Do you know other terrifying Plastic Man variants? Or maybe you're hankering for topics that you want us to do next? Let us know in the comments section below. And be sure to click on that subscribe button to get the hottest pop culture content from us here at KRTV Marvel.